Schrödinger equation for a real quantum mechanical problem is not so easy. In some cases, it becomes very difficult, and we can solve for the simple problems like hydrogen atom problem or like this. So one such problem is when the particle is trapped in an infinite potential well. So let us consider that the potential energy of the particle Vx0, it is 0 within this 0 and x equal to L. That means Vx is the potential energy of the particle which is equal to 0 when x varies from 0 to L. And at the boundaries means when x equal to 0 or x equal to L, Vx becomes infinity. So this is the mathematical description of the potential energy function Vx. So in this potential well, one particle is trapped. So how can you solve the Schrödinger equation in such a problem? So you assume that psi is the wave function associated with the particle. Therefore, the Schrödinger equation reduces to this d2 psi dx square. We are considering only one-dimensional problem. That is why potential energy is a function of x only. So the Schrödinger one-dimensional Schrödinger equation within the well, where potential energy is equal to 0, becomes d2 psi dx square plus twice m divided by h cross square. E is the total energy, then psi x equal to 0. And this equation holds good when x lies in between 0 and L. So is it clear the framing of this or this formulation of this Schrödinger equation within the one-dimensional potential well?
Yes, sir. And sir, someone is trying to join.
Why these people are late? Then again, I have to start. So don't delay in joining in my class. Again, somebody else are coming. So next day, if you delay in joining, I'll not allow you. Can you see my slide or not yet?
Yes, sir, you can see.
Okay. So I have discussed how to solve this Schrödinger equation when a particle is trapped in an infinite potential well. We are considering one-dimensional variation of the potential well. I think it is not coming. Okay. So you consider that this particle is trapped within this infinite potential well, where the potential energy Vx, it is a function of x only. So x is the position coordinate. So when x varies from 0 to L, the potential energy of the particle is 0. And at the boundaries, that means when x equal to 0 or x equal to L, the potential energy becomes infinite. That is why it is called an infinite potential well, in which a particle is trapped. So we want to find the wave function associated with this particle. Therefore, we have to formulate the Schrodinger equation for that particle. And within the well, the Schrodinger equation takes this form: d2 psi dx square plus twice m by h cross square e into psi x equal to 0. And this equation holds good when x lies in between 0 and L. And here you know that psi is the wave function associated with the particle, E is the total energy of the particle. And therefore, this equation 9, what you see, it is the wave equation for free particles. So far, if you have any question with regarding the formulation of the Schrodinger equation pertaining to this particle trapped in a potential well, you can ask me. Is it clear to everybody?
Yes, sir.
So then, what would be the solution? Solution will be in the form of sine kx or cos kx, where this wave vector k that is equal to root over twice m e divided by h cross. So how do you select which function will be suitable for this kind of particle? And that will be determined by the boundary conditions. If you see, can you choose cos kx? And there are two functions, sine kx and cos kx. Both are solutions to this equation number 9. I told you that the choice of the function will be actually determined by the boundary conditions. So which function will be suitable for this kind of particle? Anyone? Can you understand my question?
Yes, sir.
So who can answer to my question? This is Ranit. Ranit Misro, can you hear me? He has just joined. He's not listening. Then Shovik, can you hear me? Shashat?
Yes, sir.
So, can you answer to my question?
Sir, it will be sine kx because at x equal to 0, sine will be 0, cos will be 1.
So, what is the problem?
But boundary condition states that the size should be 0 at x equal to 0. So we cannot choose cos kx as a solution because it is non-zero at x equal
I
to
have
0.
not discussed about the boundary condition. Why this psi equal to 0 at the boundaries?
Sir, at x equal to 0 and x equal to L, the potential is infinite.
Yes, potential energy
Particle
is
cannot.
infinite. That is why particle cannot penetrate the infinite potential barrier. Therefore, the probability of finding a particle at the boundaries, it must be zero, and that actually requires psi equal to zero. Psi equal to zero means you have to choose sine kx function only, not cos kx, because at x equal to zero, cos zero will be unity. It is not permitted. It is not a feasible solution to the equation number 9, isn't it? So that is why you have chosen sine kx. It would be the proper solution to equation number 9. Is it clear to all?
Sir, can you please repeat?
Okay. So you know that at the infinite potential barrier, now somebody is trying to, I will not allow. Just I am opening this one. So can you see this slide?
Yes, sir.
Okay. See, you just observe this boundary. I have not discussed boundary conditions, but you just see the mathematical expression for the potential energy function. That is Vx. Vx equal to infinity when x equal to 0 and x equal to L. So at the boundaries, you will find infinite potential barrier. And that is why particle cannot penetrate, or you cannot find any particle within these boundaries. So, and you know that probability of finding a particle within some space, that is equal to psi star into psi. So therefore, this probability must reduce to zero at the boundaries due to the infinite potential barrier. Is it now clear?
Yes, sir.
No particle can penetrate a potential, infinite potential barrier. If it is a finite potential barrier, then you can say that there would be some penetration of the particle. But if you see the infinite potential barrier, no particle can penetrate it. Therefore, it requires that the probability function, it must reduce to zero, and ultimately what to need to get this psi would be zero. So psi would be zero if we ask, if you see, if you assume the solution to this equation number 9 to be sine kx. This cos function cannot satisfy this requirement, because when x equal to 0, cos 0 is unity. That means psi star into psi, it can never be 0. It will be the maximum value of unity. So therefore, we must choose the proper solution to equation number 19 to be on the form of sine kx. So here we can see, we can assume that psi, it is equal to a sine kx, where k is the wave vector, that is equal to root over twice me by h cross. So A is the amplitude of the wave function, and which has to be evaluated from the normalization condition. Now I come to the boundary condition. Since psi equal to 0 at x equal to 0 also, because here is also the potential function infinite, therefore psi must reduce to 0. And this requirement gives you KL equal to n pi. Sine kx equal to 0, that means the general solution KL, this KL would be n pi, where n is an integer. So therefore k equal to n pi by L, where n equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. So now we can also compute the total energy En for each value of the integer n, root over twice m en by h cross, that is equal to n pi by l, or en equal to h cross square by twice m n pi by l whole square. So here you see from this equation number 10 that for each allowable value of n, the particle energy is quantized. That means, one second, I have a phone call. See, uh, En, that is actually proportional to n square. If we say that h cross square, it is constant, then twice m, that is also constant. And for a given potential well, L is constant, pi is also constant. So for different integral values of n, we are getting different energy levels. So the energy of the particle cannot assume its energy values continuously, but it is discrete in nature. That means the energy of the particle is quantized. Only certain values of energies are allowed for this particle, and this integer is called the quantum number. So here comes the concept of quantized energy levels when the particle is trapped in a very small structure, and it becomes actually obvious in case of a very small dimensions. Otherwise, you cannot observe it. Okay. So here, how can you calculate the constant A? You know that there will be this anywhere somewhere in all values of x, the particle must exist somewhere. Therefore, the entire probability will be equal to unity. So, if we integrate this probability density for all possible values of x, where you know that the particle is trapped between 0 and L, so there will be somewhere within the potential well, particle will be somewhere within the potential well. Therefore, the probability, entire probability, when it is integrated over all possible values of x, will reduce to unity. So if we integrate this function, means psi star into psi. Psi star is the complex conjugate of psi. So here we have assumed this sine function. Complex conjugate is the same function because we don't find any quantity of j, means root over -1. So both psi star and psi will be the same function. Therefore, it is a square, then sine n pi x by L whole square dx. So if we carry out this integration, this definite integral that is equal to this L by 2 equal to 1. So A becomes equal to root over 2 by L. Therefore, psi n, it is the wave function corresponding to the quantum number n, psi n is root over 2 by L sine n pi by L into x. This is the form of the wave function. So you see that if L becomes very low, then psi n becomes high. This amplitude will go high. And n can assume any integral values starting from say 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. And most important thing, we must remember that this energy, this E, the first energy level corresponds to n equal to 1. That means E1, that is equal to some non-zero value. It is not the zero value. Therefore, the minimum energy that a particle can assume within the, when it is trapped within the quantum well, it is not zero, but it is above zero. And that value can be computed by using this equation, equation number 10. That's E1 equal to h cross square divided by twice n pi square by L square. This is the minimum value of energy, which is not equal to zero. So, any question?
No, sir.
So, what important point you have noticed that this particle cannot assume zero value of energy. It has non-zero value of energy. The minimum energy the particle can assume, that is non-zero. And its energy is discrete in nature. It is quantized. It cannot assume any value of energy within the potential well. Its energy gets discretized. And now, if we plot, say, so in the vertical axis, if we plot on the left hand side energy of the particle and these different quantized levels, and x, here x varies from 0 to L. First energy level, that is represented by this horizontal line at the bottom, that is E1. The next energy level E2, and then another higher energy level E3, and so on. So there, you must notice that the spacing between two consecutive energy levels, it is not same. As you go in the upward direction, the spacing will be more and more, because energy En, it is proportional to n square. So first, if you take this unit 1, the first one will be 1, then 4, then 9, then 16, and so on. So, you know, as you go higher and higher, there will be spacing will also increase between two consecutive energy levels. Now I have plotted here first three wave functions. First is psi 1, then psi 2, and psi 3. So for psi 1, it actually has the first half cycle within this quantum wave. So at the center, that means when x equal to L by 2, it becomes maximum. And as we go on both sides, the psi function falls off, and it will reduce to 0 at x equal to 0 and x equal to L. If we consider the next wave function, and this is psi 2, so it has got both positive half cycle and negative half cycle, having a 0 when x equal to L by 2. And when x equal to L by 4, then it peaks it becomes maximum, and when L x equal to 3L by 2, this is not it is the third quarter, then it will be negative, some negative value. Three-fourth of L, then it will assume this negative value, negative peak, and then it will reduce to 0 when x equal to L. If we consider another wave function, that is next third one means it has got 3 half cycles. So when x varies from 0 to L, you will notice 3 half cycles, 2 positive half cycles and 1 negative half cycle. And if you plot the probability densities for this second wave function, means psi2, the probability density function is equal to psi2 mod psi2 square. That means it is the product of psi2 star into psi2. So it has only these positive half cycles because it has been squared. So it has the minimum probability when x equal to L by 2, and it has got minimum probability when x equal to 0, x equal to L by 2 and L. And in between it assumes the maximum probability density, that is when L by 4, when x equal to L by 4, and also 3/4 L, it becomes a maximum. So most interesting point is that, so you can also carry out one problem. Here you see this problem. Calculate the first 3 energy levels of an electron in an infinite potential well of width 5 angstrom. So here L is equal to 5 angstrom. So 5 angstrom, you know that quantized energy level En, that is equal to h cross square by twice m n pi by a whole square. You put the value of h cross, then this is the reduced Planck constant, and then electron, rest mass of electron, that is 9.11 into 10 to the power minus 31, and value of A means in meter, you can write 5 into 10 to the power minus 10 whole square. So the energy will be expressed in terms of joule. You can also express in terms of electron volt. So En equal to, if you carry out just algebraic manipulation, n square, it will come about 1.51 n square. I will give you these notes so that you can carry out these mathematical calculations at your home. So E1, it will be equal to 1.51 electron volt. From this E1, you can also calculate E2. E2 will be 4 times, means 2 square means 4 times E1, that is 6.04 electron volt. And E3 will be 3 square means 9 times 9 E1, that will come around 13.59 electron volt. So this type of problem is very important. It comes comes in the examinations also. So you just carry out this kind of problem for your examinations. So any questions so far?
No, sir.
Okay. So here I have plotted 4 energy levels, E1, E2, E3, and E4 on the left side figure. And in the middle, you will find wave functions, psi1, psi2, psi3, and psi4. As you move in the upward direction, you will find a higher order of wave function associated with the particle. And on the right hand side, it is the probability density function. So, what can you conclude from this figure for this probability function of the particle trapped in an infinite potential well? Why is this kind of variation? As you go for the higher energy, the probability, observe that probability becomes more and more uniform, isn't it? Anyone? Have you observed this feature? You observe the plot of psi mod psi square. That is the probability density of the particle when it is trapped within the potential well having width A. So if we see uh, psi 1 mod psi 1 square, so probability density becomes maximum when x equal to a by 2, the lowest one. So if we go the next higher, this means mod psi 2 square. So probability peaks at two different locations within the potential. So for the next wave function, you will see the probability density peaks actually appear in three different locations within the same width within the potential well. For the fourth function, you will see there are four peaks. That means as we go higher in energy, and the particle distribution becomes more uniform. So probability density becomes more uniform. This is the important feature you must note. Why is it so? Can anyone tell me? Anyone? Shahana? Can you hear me? Not responding. Shastik? So can you answer to my question? Your microphone is muted, Shahana. Can anyone tell me? Orijit? Orko, please tell us what you understood. I cannot hear you, Orko. Orko, mic up. Are you trying to tell us something? So, what you have understood? Have you understood anything regarding this probability distribution function? If it is not, I will explain again. I am not getting any response from anybody. Here you see that this probability density function. Can you see this slide? Okay. So if we consider this psi1 wave function, so probability density function means mod psi square. For psi1, it is mod psi1 square. So what you see? The bottom one, it represents the mod psi1 square. So when x equal to a by 2, it attains its peak value, and on both sides, the probability density function falls, and it is equal to 0 at x equal to 0 and at x equal to a also. Okay. So is it clear to you from this picture? From this picture. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now you go to the higher wave function, that is psi2. Psi2, what is the change in the shape of this waveform? So it attains its maximum value at two locations. One is at x equal to L by 4, and another is when x equal to 3/4 L. And when x equal to a by 2, it is 0, isn't it? That means this
Yes, sir.
probability of finding particle means maximum probability, it becomes at two places instead of one places as in the earlier case. Okay. When you consider psi3, here you see the peak. There are three peaks within the potential well, width of the well. If we consider similarly the psi4 wave functions, there are four peaks within the potential well. That means the probability becomes more and more uniform as we go higher, as we move in the higher energy side. Okay, this is the important feature, you must note it. Is it clear now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So can anyone think why it is happening? For means the probability of finding particles becomes more and more uniform when the particle energy is high. Can anyone guess what could be the reason? Although it is somewhat difficult, you think of it and they will tell me later. Not now. I am going to the next topic. So far, if you have any question, you can ask me. So I am moving to another topic now. Now we consider a potential barrier. So here is the barrier. Barrier means the potential energy of the particle is V0 when x varies from x equal to 0 to x equal to L. So there are three different regions. Region 1 where potential energy is 0. Region 2 where potential energy is V0. That means when x equal to x lies in between 0 and a, the potential energy is V0. And when x exceeds a, potential energy again 0. So there are three different regions. So now we assume that flux of particle is incident from the negative side of x-axis, and it is incident on the interface between region 1 and 2. And the problem becomes more interesting when the particle energy is less than the potential energy or barrier height. So now we know that the what would be the solution to the Schrodinger equation for such a potential barrier. So we have divided three regions. First region where potential energy is zero. Second region, it is defined by x equal to 0 and x equal to a, where potential energy of the particle is V0. And region 3 when x exceeds a, yeah, then also potential energy is zero. So the wave function associated with the particle in region 1 that can be given by psi 1, that is a1 e to the power j k1x plus b1 e to the power minus j k1x, that is given by equation number 12. So what is the first term? First term actually represents traveling wave traveling in the positive direction of x-axis, and B1 it is actually represents a negative traveling wave coming from the positive direction of x-axis towards the negative direction. So how can you physically interpret these two terms? The first one, a1 e to the power j k1x, that means it is a propagating wave which is coming from the negative x-axis and it is going towards the positive direction of x-axis. That means it represents the incident wave, incident particle flux. And next one means b1 e to the power minus j k1x, it represents the reflected wave. So when particle is incident at this interface, some of them gets reflected due to the variation in potential energy, and the particle goes in the negative direction of x-axis. Psi 2. And what is the value of k1? K1 is root over twice me by h cross square. Psi 2. Psi 2 is the wave function in region 2, and it can be given by a2 e to the power k2x plus b2 e to the power k2 x minus k2x. These are not the traveling wave. First function is exponentially rising function with x. Second function is exponentially decaying function with x. So these functions are not propagating wave because of the absence of j term in the power of this e. But in the third region, region 3, psi 3 equal to a3 e to the power j k1x plus b3 e to the power minus j k1x. Because potential energy is zero in both region 1 and region 3, therefore the same k value can be used for the solution in region 3 also. Is it clear? You know that potential energy V0 is zero in both the regions 1 and 3. Therefore, you can use K1 for in the solution for region 3 also. Okay. And you know the K2 value is equal to root over twice m by h cross square into V0 minus c. Now we see these are all the general solutions. Are all the terms relevant to this particular problem? You have to check. First, you see the equation number 12c. The second term actually represents a wave which is going towards the negative direction of x-axis. But in this problem, in region 3, there is no variation of this potential energy from where the wave or particle can get reflected towards the negative and come towards the negative side, negative direction of x-axis. So therefore, this term should not be there. And if you can set B3 equal to 0, then you can eliminate this term. Because this wave has no, actually it does not exist in this problem. Because there is no variation in potential in region 3 from where the particle gets reflected back and come towards the negative direction of x-axis. So therefore, we can set B3 equal to 0. Is the logic clear to you all?
Sir, can you please repeat? Please repeat.
See, if we look at region 3, and if you go towards the positive direction of x-axis, do you see any variation in the potential energy?
No, sir.
No variation. Only potential energy is 0 everywhere. When x exceeds, x is greater than a, potential energy is 0 always. So there is no variation in potential from where the incident wave can get reflected and come towards the negative direction of x-axis. This B3 into e to the power minus j k1x, it represents a wave, reflected wave, which is coming in the, which is traveling in the negative direction of x-axis. So it does not exist actually in this solution. Therefore, you set B3 equal to 0. In this way, you can eliminate it. Okay. Now I think it is clear.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So B3 equal to 0, and here A1, this first term and second term in equation 12a, both should be present. In the solution for psi2, both terms should be present because this width of this potential barrier is finite. Therefore, we can actually keep both the terms, which is exponentially rising and exponentially decaying, because this width is finite. Okay. So now we apply boundary conditions here. You can just reduce all these coefficients B1, A2, B2, and A3 in terms of A1. And here you see how the wave function looks like. In region 1, it is this propagating wave. In region 2, it is a decaying wave. If we combine both, then this exponentially rising and falling, ultimately we will get a psi x, which is decreasing with increasing value of x, and then again some propagating wave in region 3, but with a lower amplitude. So we can also compute the transmission coefficient, which is defined as the ratio of transmitted flux in region 3 divided by transmitted flux in region 1. So T is Vt, and transmitted flux means A3 into A3 star, that is the complex conjugate of A3 star. And for the transmitted flux in region 1, that is Vi A1 into A1 star. So Vt and Vi, we can say both velocity of the particles is same in both the regions 1 and 3, because you know that in both the regions the potential energy is 0. That is why you can assume that the velocity of the particles in both the regions is same. Therefore, Vt must be equal to Vi. So this equation number 13, it gives you the transmission coefficient. So if you just approximately actually carry out this some mathematical computation or manipulation, you can arrive at the transmission coefficient, which is approximately equal to 16 E by V0, 1 minus E by V0 into exponential minus twice K2 into A. So therefore, you can see that there is a finite probability of finding a particle in the region 3, even if its energy, this E, is less than the barrier height V0. Here you see this picture. So we have assumed that energy of the particle, incident particle E, that is less than the barrier height. Still, there is a finite probability of finding particles in region 3. That means some particles are tunneling through region 2 and they appear in region 3. So this is a concept, it is unlike to the classical concept. Classically, we can say that if the energy is less than the barrier height, no particle can appear in region 3. But quantum mechanically, mathematically, we see that there is a finite probability of finding particle in region 3. Here you see this psi 3 is not 0 in region 3. That means psi 3 star into psi 3, it is finite. So that means there is a finite probability of finding particles in region 3, even if their energy is less than the barrier height. And that transmission probability can be computed using equation number 14. So the statement is it clear?
Yes, sir.
But how can you conceive this idea? How is it possible? This is the statement, but how can you conceive this idea? Any explanation, any kind of explanation? Okay. You think of it. I'll go to the next problem and then I'll ask you again. So is my query clear to all of you? Whatever I have asked, is it clear to all of you? If not, I'll repeat
sir.
it. বলো ব্যানার্জি।
হ্যাঁ স্যার বুঝেছি।
হ্যাঁ, এবার তুমি বলো যে এটা কিভাবে হতে পারে, হাউ ইজ ইট পসিবল? Particle energy is less than the barrier height. Still, using this mathematics, you can find that there is a finite probability of finding this particle in region 3. And this happens due to tunneling. This particle tunnels through this barrier and comes to region 3. It can be explained by the help of the Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. So the position and momentum, it cannot be measured accurately. There is some uncertainty in the position and momentum. So that is actually called this delta P into delta X must be greater than equal to H cross, that is Planck's constant. So both position and momentum cannot be measured simultaneously accurately. There is some uncertainty. Therefore, the measurement error in momentum, that is called delta p, measurement error in position at the same time it is delta x. This product must be greater than equal to h cross, that is the reduced Planck's constant. So therefore, then delta p greater than equal to h cross by delta x. And if you see, and assume that error in the measurement is position is on the order of 1 upon k. K means the wave vector. Then the corresponding error in the measurement in momentum will be h cross into k. And you know that h cross k is on the order of root over twice m into v0 minus e. So therefore, there will be some uncertainty in the kinetic energy, and that is equal to delta p square by twice m. And it is on the order of the difference between potential energy and the energy of the incident particle, that is v0 minus e. So if we impart some kind of energy, means energy uncertainty, that is equal to the difference between barrier height and the particle energy E, then it is possible for the particle to appear in region 3. So this is the explanation, quantum mechanical explanation, how it is possible for the particles having energy less than the barrier height to come from region 1 to region 3. And this type of appearance of the particle in region 3, it is called the tunneling. So the particles penetrates to region 2 and appears in region 3. So this is a quantum mechanical concept. It is not available in case of classical physics. This is the difference between the quantum mechanics and classical physics. So now I will show some other slide. So any question? So quantum mechanical explanation, if we can present by assuming or by considering the Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. So this uncertainty in momentum is translated into the uncertainty in the energy. And this uncertainty is the difference between V0 and the actual particle kinetic energy of the particle. If it is the uncertainty becomes such amount of energy, then particle can come through this region 2, from region 1 to region 3. So next slide I will show you. So can you see this slide? Okay. So it is a problem. So consider an electron with energy 2 electron volt impinging on a potential barrier with V0 equal to 20 electron volt and a width of 3 angstrom. So as you know that K2 can be given by root over twice m V0 minus E by H cross square. So if you carry out this mathematical calculation, K2 you will get the value of Kt, that is equal to 2.17 into 10 to the power 10 meter inverse, and the transmission probability, it comes around 3.17 into 10 to the power minus 6. So if you consider this is the tunneling probability, although it is very low, but if we consider a large number of particles, that means large number of electrons which are incident on this potential barrier, So there will be appreciable number of electrons which will cross this barrier and come from region 1 to 3. Okay, so I'll give you these notes and you will go through these notes. Now we come to the another problem, and this is called the step potential function. Here, when x is negative, potential energy is 0, and for positive value of x, the potential energy is V0. And that is why it is called a step potential function. There will be the solution of Schrodinger equation in two regions. First is region 1. Region 1, the solution comes psi 1 x, that is a1 e to the power j k1x plus b1 e to the power minus j k1x for x less than equal to 0. And for region 2, it is psi 2 e to the power this a2 e to the power k2x plus b2 e to the power, this is e to the power minus k2x, x greater than 0. So first, this psi 1 first term represents a traveling wave, which is traveling in the positive direction of x-axis. And the second one is the traveling wave. It is the actually reflected wave at the interface between two regions. It is going in the negative direction of x-axis. And psi 2, that is, it is the exponential rising function, and b2 into e to the power, it is missing, e to the power minus k2 into x. It is a decaying function, exponential decaying function with x. So here you see that if we observe psi 2, the first term actually it increases exponentially with x, but here x can vary from 0 to infinity. So psi 2 can never be infinite. It is not a feasible solution. Therefore, we must reduce a2 equal to 0. You follow this logic. So psi 2 can never be an infinite wave function. Psi 2 must be finite. It is a single valued and finite wave function. But here, first term, it increases with increasing x. So here x, allowed value of x is from 0 to infinity. So if we put this term, it will bring this psi 2 to infinity. Therefore, this term should not be present. Therefore, a2 must be set to 0. So therefore, psi 2 can be written as it is equal to b2 e to the power minus k2 into x. So here psi 2 equal to b2 e to the power k2 into x. So what are the boundary conditions? Boundary conditions means at the interface, both the wave functions, actually the value of both the wave functions should be equal. Therefore, psi 1 0 must be equal to psi 2 0. And their derivative also should be continuous. That means d psi 1 dx evaluated at x equal to 0 must be equal to d psi 2 dx evaluated at x equal to 0. So not only the functional value, but also its first order derivative with respect to position must be equal to, must be the same. So now you compute the reflection coefficient R, that is equal to VR by V1, B1 star divided by A1 star. You see these wave functions. This is the reflection coefficient. If we observe the wave function psi 1, the first term represents the incident particle flux, and the second term it represents the reflected particle flux. So therefore, to compute the reflection coefficient, it should be the reflected wave first. That means the VR into this is the velocity of the particle, reflected particle, into B1 star, and this is the velocity of the incident particle V1, and this coefficient that is equal to A1, A1 star. You know that both velocities are within a region 1 where potential energy is 0. Therefore, we can assume that the velocity of incident as well as velocity of the reflected wave are the same. Therefore, VR equal to V1. And we can compute this reflection coefficient by knowing the value of B1, B1 star divided by A1, A1 star. And if we put x equal to 0 in equation, this equation for psi 1, here you will find A1 plus B1 equal to B2. Now you take derivative, first order derivative with respect to x, and put x equal to 0. Then you will get A1 J1K minus B1 JK1 equal to B2 minus K2. So if you do some simple algebraic calculations, you can evaluate value of A1 in terms of B1, and this A1 star means complex conjugate of A1. If we replace J by minus J or vice versa, then you can get the complex conjugate of A1. And you must remember that B1 is also a complex quantity. That is why instead of B1, you have to write here B1 star. B1 star is the complex conjugate of B1. So therefore, B1, B1 star divided by A1, A1 star, it is equal to 1. So all particles with energy less than V0 are reflected. It is consistent with the classical physics. And you see that B2 is not equal to 0. B2, what is B2? Here, it is B2. Psi 2, B2 e to the power minus K2 into X. That means it is the reflected part. It is not equal to 0. So there is a finite probability that the wave function penetrates into region 2. And there is no classical analog for this. So you can also explain this phenomenon by using this Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. So there is a finite probability that the wave function penetrates into region 2 because B2 is not equal to 0. Therefore, psi 2 is not equal to 0. Psi 2 star, this complex conjugate of psi 2 is not equal to 0. Therefore, psi 2 star into psi 2, it is finite. That means particles are there in region 2. How can you assume it? Even if its energy is less than the potential barrier height. What I have already explained. If we consider the uncertainty in the momentum, which is translated to the uncertainty in energy, if we impart that much of energy to the particle, then it is possible to conceive the idea that the particles, there is some particles which may appear in region 2. So is it clear?
Yes, sir.
So anybody else? অরিজিৎ, হ্যাঁ বোঝা যাচ্ছে? আচ্ছা, if you have any question from anybody else? Arnab Bodua.
Sir, that potential wall question, it also had to do with that uncertainty principle, right?
হ্যাঁ, এই যে নেক্সট দুটো প্রবলেম, ফার্স্টের এটা কোনো নেই, সমস্যা নেই, কিন্তু সেকেন্ড দুটো প্রবলেমে ইউ হ্যাভ টু অ্যাপ্লাই আনসার্টেনটি প্রিন্সিপাল, আদারওয়াইজ ইউ ক্যানট ক্লাসিক্যালি থিঙ্ক অফ দিস কাইন্ড অফ এনার্জি।
না স্যার, ওই পোটেনশিয়াল ওয়াল যে কোয়েশ্চেনটা আপনি করেছিলেন, ওই ইউনিফর্ম হয়ে যাচ্ছে ওয়েভটা,
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ,
ওটাও আনসার্টেনটি প্রিন্সিপাল দিয়েই তো আমায় করতে হবে। মানে যদি আমার এনার্জি বেড়ে যায়, মানে যদি ফর আ হায়ার এনার্জি ওটা মানে ওয়েভটা ইউনিফর্ম হয়ে যাচ্ছে, মানে ওটার পজিশনের আনসার্টেনটিটা বেড়ে যাচ্ছে, আর এনার্জি বাড়লে আমার মোমেন্টামটাও বেড়ে যাচ্ছে। তো ওটার জন্যই পজিশনের আনসার্টেনটিটা কমে যাচ্ছে, মানে মোমেন্টাম বাড়ার জন্য পজিশনের আনসার্টেনটিটা বেড়ে যাচ্ছে, এরকম কি বলতে পারি?
সেটা তোমাদেরই কোশ্চেনটা করলাম, ইউ থিঙ্ক অ্যাবাউট ইট। কোশ্চেনটা এনার্জি বাড়ছে, এনার্জি বাড়লে কি হয়? ভেলোসিটি বাড়ে।
হ্যাঁ স্যার, ভেলোসিটি বাড়ছে, তাই
ভেলোসিটি
জন্য
যদি বাড়ে তাহলে পরে
মোমেন্টাম
একটা
বাড়ছে।
জায়গায় বারবার আসতে পারে না। ধরো একটা স্লোলি মুভ করছে যে পার্টিকেল, তার এক জায়গায় থাকার প্রবাবিলিটি হয়তো যেখানে ম্যাক্সিমাম আছে অন্য জায়গায় তার যেতে অনেক সময় লাগছে। যে খুব মুভমেন্ট, ফাস্ট মুভমেন্ট, তাকে একটা পজিশনে বারবার বারবার দেখা যায়। তার কারণ কি? ভেলোসিটি ইজ ভেরি হাই। আনসার্টেনটি অবশ্যই বাড়ছে, এনার্জি মোমেন্টাম আনসার্টেনটি মানে এনার্জির আনসার্টেনটি। এনার্জি ইজ রিলেটেড টু স্কোয়ার অফ দ্য ভেলোসিটি। ভেলোসিটি হাই, তার মানে ওকে তোমার একই জায়গায় বারবার তাকে দেখার সম্ভাবনা, মানে ইট উইল ফর্ম সাম কাইন্ড অফ ক্লাউড, দ্যাট ইজ কল্ড ইলেকট্রন ক্লাউড। যেমন থাকে খুব ফাস্ট মুভিং পার্টিকেল যে ওইখানে বারবার বারবার আসছে, এর প্রবাবিলিটি হাই হয়ে যাচ্ছে। আচ্ছা, তোমাদের ফ্রাইডেতে এই সন্ধ্যেবেলা ফাঁকা আছে? কারণ আমার কোর্স তো শেষ করতে হবে। কোয়ান্টাম মেকানিক্স সোফার I have already discussed. I will not discuss much more because you have studied it. You already studied in your second semester, no?
Yes, sir.
So I will switch to the physical electronics part. So next Friday from 7.
Yes, sir. I have no
হ্যাঁ,
problem.
তাহলে ফ্রাইডেতে আমি লিংক দিয়ে দেবো। এবার থেকে আমি সেমিকন্ডাক্টরে ফিজিক্যাল ইলেকট্রনিক্স পার্টটা পড়াবো, কারণ তোমাদের কোঅর্ডিনেটর জানিয়ে দেবে তোমাদের ফার্স্ট টার্মের পরীক্ষা হবে, মিড সেমিস্টার। কোঅর্ডিনেটর তোমাদের জানিয়ে দেবে, আমার কোর্স কিছুটা কমপ্লিট করতে হবে। আর এটা তুমি হচ্ছে সিআর তো সায়ন?
হ্যাঁ স্যার।
আর তুমি বলে দেবে স্টুডেন্টদের যদি লেট জয়েনিং করে আমি কিন্তু অ্যালাউ করব না, আমি এন্ট্রি দেবো না। বারবার আমার খুব ডিস্টার্ব হয়। 5 মিনিট 7 মিনিট অ্যালাউ করা যেতে পারে, তার মানে এই নয় যে আফটার হাফ অ্যান আওয়ার জয়েন করতে চাইছে। 1 ঘন্টার ক্লাসে তার 50% জয়েন করবে না, তাদের কিন্তু আমি আর ঢুকতে দেবো না ক্লাসে।
ওকে স্যার।
Okay, I will send you these notes tonight, and you go through the notes. If you have any problem, you can discuss me in the class. Okay. Thank you.
And sir, you have not yet sent the first note.
হ্যাঁ, ওই দুটো একসাথে পাঠিয়ে দেবো, দুটো একসাথে পাঠিয়ে দেবো, আজকেই পাঠিয়ে দেবো।
ঠিক আছে।
ওকে।